What up, people? What up? What up? It's your boy Chaos, and it's just our opinion segment. You already know how we do it. You already know. You already know. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You know what I'm saying? At DJ Chaos, the Mixed Master. You know what I'm saying? Let's get straight to the topic, man. This one right here is about a movie that I thought, well, I'm not gonna say I thought, I used to like until I got the real full dialogue on why I shouldn't like this movie, because it was very degrading. It was very fictional, of course, but it also, I'm just gonna go into it, man. Fuck it. The Color Purple movie and its lies on black men. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how things changed with me with this movie. Well, first off, when I first seen this movie as a youngin back in the 80s, the movie dropped in 1985, by the way, but even when the movie came to VHS or Betamax or whatever, I remember watching this movie and laughing right along with my sister, God rest my older sister. And she watched the movie because the movie had a lot of country language, and it just sounding so funny and comical to my sister, to the point where I listened to it and watched it, you know what I'm saying? And it was pretty funny, you know what I'm saying? I laughed about it. I mean, the way Mister was talking shit to Celie and how Sophia was acting, and this the movie, and how Harpo was doing his stupidity, you know what I'm saying? And I never thought that this movie was really a bad energy cycle for our communities as black men and women, because quiet is kept. The movie was made by a woman named Alice Walker, who is a big time feminist and activist, and she is all about women's rights. She cares nothing about black men whatsoever. And this was her toy to basically help the system of white supremacy, as well as Oprah Winfrey, you know what I'm saying, help put black men in the spotlight of being this boogeyman type of guys that just go around highly sexual, on their way, and treating their black women like slaves. Most people will say that movie was just a movie, you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. When a person goes and buy a car from a car lot, and it's their favorite car, they don't expect it to get towed up. They don't expect nobody to do nothing to it. They just expect to ride in that nice car until they get tired of it, because they spent their hard-earned money on that car. So they're going to expect to get every bit of enjoyment out that car, you know what I'm saying? And they don't need nobody to mess it up or whatever the case may be. But when that car get towed up, yeah, true enough, you say you got insurance on it, you just get you another one. Well, sometimes when you've been built up your fort in that vehicle, it's kind of hard to replace. Even though you might say, well, I'll just get another one, but at the same time, it's not gonna feel the same. You see what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be thinking about the dark process that vehicle that you had the previous time getting towed up, and it's not gonna feel the same when you first bought the previous vehicle. And what I'm saying is, regardless if the movie is fictional, which we all know it anyway, but at the same time, it also gives you a brainstorm on what black men is doing to black women on big screen. And knowing women being feminine and very emotional beings will look at that as truth. and mainly to the women that basically be in relationships with guys that literally do that. So at the same time, it's like a mixed situation with this movie because you're gonna have people that like, I know my daddy used to do this to my mama or whatever the case may be, and that's what they want to hear. But at the same time, this movie is a reflection of the war that we're going, the silent war that we're going up against between us black men versus black women. Most people will say it ain't no war, it's all in your mind. No, it is a war. It's a silent war. Because if you watch this movie, you'll understand the people that put their best foot forward into the production of this movie are people who cannot, and I say cannot, stand the gratification of a strong black man. Oprah Winfrey, Alex Walker, hell, I would say the little hat man, Steven Spielberg. You know what I'm saying? And they said, Quincy Jones did the music score on that. I'm not gonna really throw Quincy Jones up under the bus like that, but but in retrospect, anybody say, if a motherfucker got a part of it, he's just as guilty as the rest. But this movie was so fucking degrading against black men to the point where in the 80s, black women started to look at black men a whole lot different than they have ever looked in the history of this country. And it was done like that by design because you got to remember, back in the 60s, the black man and black woman were fighting the same struggle of white supremacy throughout the civil rights movement of the 60s. Because you had the powers that be basically stirring up the hornet's nest with the white supremacists to keep us in line and keeping us separate, segregated or whatever the case may be. So we literally had to hold each other down as much as possible, protect ourselves and our kids and our children, you know. So, but we have gotten past that over 50 plus years later, and they found a way to basically destroy the black family structure by taking the family, black men out the family, and leaving it as just the woman in the chat and the kids. So because they know that that's just like changing nature. Well, it is changing nature because when you don't have the father, which is the head, the mother is the tail. Regardless of how you look at it, the mother is the tail. The mother is the assistant of the father. The father is the head. The father's job is to protect, serve his family, protect and serve his family. Without the head, the tail runs wild because it has nobody guiding it the right way. Got her guiding, being guided the right way. Now she's running wild, doing in and everything. And that's what we see in today's society. The head is not in the house no more. Y'all say, well, a woman could do just as much. No, she can't. Because if she could, these young men wouldn't be out. These young men and women wouldn't be out here doing the fuck shit that they do on a daily basis. The powers that be knows it. That's the reason why they can make a movie like Color Purple because it's easy to do, and they know that a black woman, as well as a black man, can't leave them out, would take the money that they thought they never would have and would do these movies. But let's just break it down on let's just break this movie down because I'm getting off topic a little bit. But um, we're gonna start with Miss Seeley and Mister. Okay, Mister was the black man who had his own house, had his own land, and he had his kids from his previous marriage. But the thing about it was, in order for him to harvest his field and take care of home, he needed a woman to watch the kids while he was out working the fields, his fields and stuff. And the way they depicted his character to be, was this aggressive, evil, black woman hating black man who didn't care about nothing of a black woman, period, point blank, intended. But at the same time, he cared somewhat for a whore. And you know who the whore is? Suge Avery. Because in one scene, when he went to the juke joint, he brought her back home, drunk as a skunk, and was like, I'm gonna fix her up, I'm gonna get her right. Because this is the woman I really want. Because didn't he say on the movie when Hoppo asked him, Paul, who is this? He said, the woman that should have been your mammy. Because she had a glamour look to herself. She looked like what the Bible say about Jezebel. I mean, she just, she was a glorified looking woman. I mean, she had everybody going crazy in the club. You know what I'm saying? And she could sing and things of that nature. But at the same time, he had a wife, and his wife was Miss Seeley. He didn't give a damn about Miss Seeley because he brought his new side piece home, which was Suge Avery. And he got Suge Avery cleaned up and had Miss Seeley to feed her and all of those stuff. And she was broke down because she was supposedly being on on the hurting side of the game just as well as Seeley was, because Seeley felt like nobody didn't love her. And Suge Avery felt like the person that brought her into this world, her father, didn't love her. So it was hurt on both ends of the coin. So they both shared each other's pain. And that's when she created the song called Sister, because they both shared each other's pain. And their pain become a love for each other in lust, which equals lesbianism. They was pushing lesbianism through this movie way back then. And then it gets even crazier to the point where we move on to Sophia, which played by, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey character, Sophia, was basically a one at one particular time. She was a single parent. You know what I'm saying? Who was literally, well, I don't think she was a single parent. I think she was having kids, but she, it was kind of on the under, I guess. And she literally was running the house. She literally had Hoppo by his motherfucking ears like a little kid. So she was more of the aggressive, trying to be masculine type, because she felt like through her whole life, she had to fight men. You know what I'm saying? Because the point where it got to the part where when she finally lured Hoppo into the marriage scene, if you can see, you see where she was like, you may kiss the bride, and she turned around and walked the fuck off. And said, "I was married now. I was married now." She didn't even want to give the man a kiss, and that was like a cap all day long, because it was just like saying, she did that. Just like most marriages now, most women get married just to say I'm married, but at the same time, they're not really happy with their marriage because it's basically a business transaction putting up on the front. And I know several folks like that, but I'm not gonna go into that. But anyway, so you get down into the point where she is married to Harpo, and she literally feel like, I'm tending to my kids. I ain't got to tend to no motherfucking man. You know what I'm saying? To the point where Harpo was like, I'm out here working these fields and stuff, and you can't fix me nothing to eat. I'm hungry. And she telling him the pies in the pantry or some shit, because she was there talking to Celie. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "You're not gonna get my food." And she's like, "Is there something wrong with you? I got my own kids to worry about." You know what I'm saying? Then she just threw her little, gave him the working hoe, like, make yourself useful. And then Harpo, on one line, he asked his father, like, about how Sophia act, and he was like, you got to get the upper hand, boy, and handle your business. And then even Celie was like, when he asked her, he's like, "Man, what am I going to do with her?" He said, "Beat her." Then she turned around and said, "You told Harpo to beat me." Bob Harpo's face was fucked up and everything. He lying talking about the mule that kicked him in the face and all that old stuff, but no, the mule that kicked his ass in the face was Sophia. But the thing is, she had smoke for men, for black men anyway, because she said the line. She said, "All my life I had to fight. I had to fight my father. I had to fight my uncles. I had to fight my brothers." And then she bust out and said, "I didn't think I had to fight in my own house." And said she loved Harpo, and God knows I do, but I'll kill him dead if he ever try to beat me again. That was the whole concept of saying, this is how an insecure, heavy-set black woman should feel like. Stand your guard and put them hands on them niggas if they try to get wrong with you. But at the same time, while she was sitting around there fighting black men, she kind of went try to go outside her circle and talk this shit to Miss Millie, which was a white woman who she was working for. And the white woman was kissing all her kids and just disrespecting her kids. And white folks did shit like that back in the day. And she asked the kid, "Yo, you kids are so clean. Y'all want to work for me and be my maid and all that other shit?" And she said, "Hell no." And one said, "What did you say?" She said, "I said hell no." And then the mayor, which was Miss Millie's husband, she said, "What did you say to Miss Millie, good girl?" She said, "I said hell." And she slapped the shit out. He slapped the shit out of Sophia. And Lawrence Fishburne character, which he played Swain, and hollered out, "No, Miss Sophia, oh Miss Sophia." She looked back, she done popped his ass, popped the white boy's ass. But it wasn't like, what I'm saying, white folks was gonna just let that go down. They got together in a mob. You know what I'm saying? They cussing out and hollering at her and everything. The next thing you know, the sheriff come out of nowhere and he pistol whooped her and hit her in the damn face, knocked her on the ground. Then she look up, she in jail for a while. When she got out of jail, she back working for Miss Millie for the rest of her life. Literally a slave. But see how the white folks, they show the white folks stuck up for Miss Millie versus the black folks not sticking up for Sophia. But they'll say, well, it should have been the black man sticking up, like Harpo. Well, yeah, it should have been. But was she sticking up for Harpo when Harpo literally was trying to do for her? No. So it's a two-way streak on both sides of the coin. But a lot of us don't think that way. We just think on the woman's perspective, not the man's perspective. And that's the reason why our society is not going to never prosper because we're thinking off of one side of the coin, not both sides of the coin. And that's what makes this movie so grand. And that's why Oprah Winfrey was obliged by doing this movie because she's helping the system of white supremacy keep black women right where they want black women to be, thinking that they can be independent, raise their kids by themselves, and not have a need for a black man. That's what this movie was all about. It was on the feminine side of the game to literally bring this feminization movement to life deeper and hardcore than ever. Because the cap of this movie is that they got depicting Mister to be the boogeyman. And this movie supposed to have took place in the early 1900s during the Jim Crow era. You got to ask yourself a question. What black man that you know have that much strength and courage to beat on his black woman when he's already catching hell with white supremacy? So that makes one cap of the movie. Because the second cap is Celie was cooking and cleaning, and he had land. He was eating off his land. They didn't want to recognize that though. He had his own shit. Most people looked over that. Celie didn't have a goddamn thing until after her stepdaddy died. Her daddy or stepdaddy died, or whatever the case may be. That's the only way she had something. But see, the thing is, it's more of a focused deal on a black woman being empowered than a black man being empowered. And that's what makes this movie such the biggest cap and the biggest mindfuck deal in the history of black people. But most black women love this movie. They're looking at the concepts of the emotional side. And then they break you off with the church scene, as they always do, because that's the distraction part. That's what Tyler Perry based all his movies off of. And what a coincidence. Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey are the gatekeepers for white supremacy. Wow. They know how to keep black women deaf, dumb, and blind and distracted. All you gotta do is start talking about Jesus and start singing gospel music, and that just changed the whole trajectory of their mindset to depend on a sorcerer. Man, don't mess with me this, man. Don't mess with me with this. But the moral of the story, they're coming back out with another Color Purple 2023. I think they doing this Color Purple 2023 is like a reminder or a renewal from the powers that be, with the help of Oprah Winfrey once again, to talk about the same shit that he did almost 40 years ago. To get the new generation to see how fucked up black men is again, supposedly, with another fictional deal. Because I think they feel like that young black women are not as gullible as their parents were to fall for the banana and tailpipe of not thinking they don't need a man. So they got to put this back. They got to float this in the air to basically renew the concepts of the storyline that they put in the 80s of the movie Color Purple. So they bringing up a new color purple, and these are the cast new cast members. Boy, I tell you, this shit gets weirder and weirder. Oh, before I get ready to close out, let's talk about Hoppo. Hoppo was Mr. Sun. He was a very laid back type of guy who was mainly, saying like a beta male type of guy. He wasn't nothing like Mister. But he was trying to be on the same level as his father, but he didn't really understand how to be on the same level as his father. Because he looked like a little dope, a little lame brain, and that's why Sophia loved him. And now that I think about it, Sophia, them kids that she had by him probably wasn't even his. Maybe one might have been his. The rest of them probably wasn't his. And she treated him like he had a damn tail. And he tried to get some act right out of her, but it still didn't work because she kicked his ass. But the thing is that was the part they really wanted to really give more of clarity on, was Hopper being more of a beta male than Mister was, because Mister was alpha male. And one thing you got to understand about the system of white supremacy, they don't like a strong black man to speak his own opinions and do his own thing, because that's a threat, especially when they know they're used to you being their footstool. And when they see that black men ain't trying to be their footstool, they hate you. And they get your own people to hate you. They get your own, like now, last but not least, they're getting our black women to hate us. So, but that's the whole concept of this movie. You know, shout out to you guys that say you love and it's still a good movie to me, blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever you say. I thought the same thing until I had to watch the movie over again and get the breakdowns on it and get a better understanding where this movie was basically a failure to black men as well as black women. Because you got to think about the whole timeline: 1910, 1920, Jim Crow era. Black men didn't have enough time and space to be trying to be on no black woman. If any damn thing, he was looking out for his black woman, trying to anyway. And I bet you ain't gonna tell you that black men lost their lives trying to protect their family. That's why a lot of times they got hung in trees. Cause yeah, they fired back at the white man, but the white man had to go get a goddamn mob to take out one nigga. That's coward shit. That's recessive shit. That ain't no man shit. They created the coward persona. Now you think about that. That's why I say this movie was a straight up cap. All you gotta do is just go back and watch it, and I guarantee you'll see what the fuck I'm talking about. Your boy Chaos. Deuce.